What's up, TCCTU and ORU? It is Samson here for another episode of The Fitting Room. And I just want to say thank y'all to those who are subscribed, who are connected, who are following the Instagram page. Y'all are phenomenal. And I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of this community, choosing to be a part of this community. As we continue to grow, develop, we're going to continue to hear stories. And we just have a few more before the summer season ends. And so we have one today that we're going to dive into. And we have a very special guest. This guest is Madison. What up, girl? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and semi-raised in Pennsylvania, which was actually pretty great. Love the East Coast.
East Coast, yeah.
Yeah, you're literally like so close to so many beaches. It's fantastic. But I moved here when I was 9 after a custody battle between my mother and father.
Oh, that's real.
Yeah. Moved here when I was 9, went to school right across this parking lot. And yeah, now I'm going to be a freshman at TCC in the fall, majoring in communications.
Hey,
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the one. Well, definitely, I'm looking forward to diving into your story, your journey, your experience. And so I'm going to ask you, how'd you get here? I mean, you mentioned a little bit about Pennsylvania, but but nonetheless, how'd you get to where you're at now?
Like my major?
Major.
Well, I mean, I've changed my major like 4 or 5 times, and I haven't even started college yet. So
I feel that's so real. Like before you even get to college, you're like switching up the major.
No, I told some of my friends that, and they were like, Madison, I think that's like a world record. So I'm very indecisive. But I picked communications just because like I was going back and forth between marketing and communications. And I just kind of did some research on them both.
Mm-hmm.
I also hate math, so marketing probably would not have been my cup of tea.
Wait, there's math in marketing? I mean, I don't know.
Marketing is like numbers, and you have to like deal with like like brand like sale numbers and like
that makes sense.
That
okay.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm following.
So, but I just kind of did some research on both of them, and I was just like, hey, communications seems like the better one for me.
Yeah. So you grew up in Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
and then you came here
Mm-hmm.
to Tulsa when you were 9.
Yeah.
And you mentioned like there was like a little bit of a custody battle that was taking place. A lot of bit of a custody battle that took place. Okay,
Yeah.
so when you ended up in Pennsylvania, who did you end up with?
You mean when I ended up here?
Mm-hmm.
I ended up with my dad.
Okay.
Because I love my mother, but she has her issues.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that. And so when you were growing up, was marketing and communication something that you enjoyed growing up, that you felt?
No.
So when did communications and marketing become something that you were interested in?
Well, I think marketing, because so I myself fall victim to all the like brand marketing things. Like if you like that creeper cereal that made like your milk green, I didn't buy it, but like that's an example of something that like you have me hooked.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I can get behind this, and then I have all these ideas for things that'll get me hooked on things, then that's one thing. But communications, like I did some research, and I like followed some people on TikTok who like majored in communications and whatnot. And one of the girls that I followed on TikTok, she's a social media moderator for a hockey team.
Yeah.
For an NHL team. And I was like, okay, that sounds fun, like being like a social media mod or a social media manager for like a sports team or a you know, like a brand. Because
Yeah.
have you seen Nutter Butter's Instagram?
Well, I think I've seen their TikTok or something,
Yeah.
and it's some crazy
Yeah.
stuff happening over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Like that's stuff I would create. I went to Tulsa Tech last year, and my class that I took was digital graphics.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our assignments was to rebrand 3 different like food or drink items.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I picked was Nutter Butters, and I went like straight to Nutter Butters Instagram. I took a screenshot of one of their posts, and I like cut out like these weird looking like Nutter Butters with like photoshopped eyes and lips and stuff on them. It was so funny. But I made that my like one of the things that I rebranded.
Yeah.
It's just so fun.
And so when you were at Tulsa Tech, were you doing community? Like, what was it that you were? It sounds like almost graphic design type.
Yeah. So I was doing, I was working in Photoshop and Illustrator, and I am professionally certified in Photoshop, Illustrator, and visual design.
Yeah.
So pretty proud of that. But yeah, it was all like working in Photoshop and stuff like that, which was really fun actually, because Photoshop, it's like, well, I thought Photoshop was before I started that. I just thought it was like, oh, that's where people go to like make really awful pictures that you can clearly tell are photoshopped. Yeah. But it was actually really fun learning how to like use the tools. Like we restored an old picture. Mm-hmm. Like we fixed like some of like the like faded areas, and there was like a rip in it, and we fixed that. So it was just like stuff like that that was really cool and really fun to learn how to do.
Yeah.
So that's
and so you got certified at Tulsa Tech, mm-hmm. But now you're going to be starting in the fall in communication. So what are you hoping to get from TCC that you don't think Tulsa Tech offers?
Tulsa Tech only, it's a trade school. Mm-hmm. So it really only, like, they have, like, cosmetology, they have nursing, they have, like, dental.
Yeah.
They have, like, electricity, woodworking, like, stuff like that. So it's really only stuff that, like, takes you, like, a year and a half to get, like, your certifications in. So it's not really technically like a college that you get a degree from. Okay. Because you don't get degrees from there, you just get your certifications. And so with TCC, obviously, I want to get a degree.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. And so, what made you pick TCC?
It was just like an easy decision, honestly. Like, I mean, it's not that expensive. It's like they have so many different campuses around Tulsa. Yeah. Which was nice. And I don't know, it wasn't, this is not where I saw my life 5 years ago, but I've learned to, my therapist has helped me a lot. No, that's to learn to accept and deal with where I'm at versus where I thought I would be. Yeah. But yeah, and that's just like, it was just an easy decision. I don't know.
Yeah. And you don't feel like you have to dive into it, but just out of curiosity, where did you see yourself in 5 years?
So where I saw myself in 5 years was, so I thought I would be graduating this past spring. Mm-hmm. And I ended up graduating a year early. Okay. Thank you, Epic Charter Schools.
Hey, that's the one.
But when I was 13, I pictured myself when I was 18, I would be headed off to college, like a 4-year college, living in a dorm, like just completely different from moving in with my cousin and going to TCC and stuff like that. So, and my therapist really helped me because I was having a hard time, like, accepting and, like, being happy with not, like, going away for school and things like that. And she told me, she was like, it's okay to mourn where you thought you were going to be while also being grateful for the place that you are right now. And I was like, wow, Courtney, you are an angel. I love you.
No, I mean, that's what you're saying is one of the most beautiful truths I wish people would grab, which is you can, because sometimes we feel like we have to be either grateful or we have to be like,
Yeah.
sad. Like you can't be both.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
learning to be both is just such a crazy place of maturity.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously there's days where I'm like, wow, I really wish I was packing up to leave for college and packing up and buying stuff for a dorm and,
Yeah.
getting ready for that, because I didn't get like the high school experience per se. So I was
Yeah.
really looking forward to going to college. And I would still plan to go to a 4-year college after I finish at TCC.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a little bit more difficult than other days, but then some days I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I don't have to pack anything.
Yeah.
And I don't have to get ready to like move to a different state. I don't have to deal with all of that. This is fantastic.
No, that's awesome. And I feel like what's really awesome about it too is that I know that there's students from all these campuses here in Tulsa that maybe they had expectations to go to 4-year college and they're ending up at TCC, or maybe they planned it to go to like a huge state college, that's,
Yeah.
a little bit bigger, but they ended up at like TU or ORU. And I think we had somebody on maybe last season who was kind of battling with like, man, I'm at TU, a little bit more smaller, and it's not as like the bigger. So there is that reality of each person has their own thing that maybe they mourn, and they're trying to be grateful and kind of process what they unmet expectations.
Yeah, definitely.
In life. No, that's what's up. That's what's up. Okay, so you are now freshman going in freshman to TCC, and we're in the middle of the summer now. What are some things that you're kind of facing right now? Like, what are some challenges, some opportunities?
Well, one really big challenge is my hips, because I had hip surgery when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And recently at work, I stepped wrong, and I thought I tweaked something in my back, but I actually messed up my other hip. So that's been a whole thing. So
So wait, when you were 15, did the hip surgery come from like an accident that took place, or was it?
No, I had a torn labrum, which is basically like you have your hip socket and your ball joint, and your labrum is like the cushiony stuff that keeps it from like grinding together and being not enjoyable to walk on.
Yeah.
So I had torn that, and so my hip was just.
So when you got surgery at 15, like how did that impact, like were you not able to walk for a while?
Yeah, I was on crutches for a month and a half, and I was in physical therapy for 6 or 7 months. Yeah.
That's pretty intense. Okay, so now, since then, there hasn't been any issues until now.
Oh, no, there have.
Oh, there has.
Yeah, so for like, while I was in physical therapy and for like a little while after I got done with physical therapy, both of them were fine, because I was supposed to have surgery on my left hip too. But then we were like, well, if it's not bothering her, we should just leave it. So I was like, okay, whatever. But then, a couple months after I got done with physical therapy, my right hip started hurting again, and my left hip started giving me trouble again. And so I went back to my doctor, and they did an MRI with contrast.
I don't even know what contrast is.
It's dye that they inject. So it's like if they're trying to see like if you have like a hole in your stomach or something like that, I don't know, or like something wrong with your intestines, they have you drink the dye, and it goes through your whole system, and then they take an X-ray so then they can see everything. But for me, obviously you can't drink it and then take an MRI of a hip and, have any easy results. So they injected it into my joint.
Anytime people use the word inject, it just makes me cringe because I'm that sounds painful.
They like stuck a needle in my joint. And they told me, they were like, yeah. So they started with saline to make sure it was where it needed to be, because they had an x-ray machine over me, and he was looking at like the screen so he could see where his needle was and make sure it was all in the right spot. And
this is like a year after the surgery.
Not even a year.
Not even.
This was, well, actually, yeah, at that point it was. But so we started with saline, and the saline wasn't bad. He was like, you might feel a little bit of pressure. Mind you, the needle's like this long, because it has to go inside your joint, bro. Yeah. And so he puts the needle like into my joint, and he injects the saline just to make sure it's where it needs to be. And then he's like, okay, it's where it needs to be. And he twists the syringe off, leaves the needle in my hip, and then twists the one with the contrast on. And he's like, okay, you're going to feel a little bit of pressure here. And he starts injecting it. When I tell you, that was quite literally the worst pain I have ever felt in my entire life.
I believe it.
And it wasn't even like pain. It was just like pressure, but the pressure was like pain. Does that make sense? Like, it wasn't painful, but it was.
All that's in my head is pain. Yeah. That's all that's
well, because they numbed my like hip area, but that only goes so far. You can't numb a joint.
Yeah.
And it literally felt like they liquefied like a 100-pound weight and were injecting that into my hip. It was awful. But on the bright side of that, I was in so much pain, and I was so freaked out about that I completely forgot that I was horrified of MRIs. They put me in the MRI. They were like, what music do you want to listen to? Put the headphones on me. I was in there, and I had been in there for like 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, I'm not scared of these anymore.
This ain't that bad.
So I was like, yeah, this is definitely better than the other one, the contrast stuff.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's intense. And so currently right now, it sounds like a lot of that is coming back up.
Yeah.
And so
I went to my hip doctor on Wednesday. He wasn't there. It was his PA. And it wasn't even his PA that was there when I had surgery. It was a new PA. And so she comes in and she's like, so are you having the same pain that you had on your right side before you had surgery on your left side? And I was like, yeah. I thought that covered like the joint pain, everything. And then she was like poking around and like being like, does this hurt? And I was like, yeah, that hurts. And she was like, okay, so it sounds like you're having more of like an issue with your soft tissue. And I was like, no. It hurts inside my joint, like the bone hurts. And she was like, well, I mean, we can do an MRI if you want. And I was like, yeah, I do. Please.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, you should also do physical therapy though. And like, I don't have a problem with doing physical therapy, but I'm like, I don't want to, block out more time in my week, because I'm already so busy as is. I don't want to block out more time in my week that I have to go to physical therapy for an hour if it's not going to do anything.
Yeah. Do you sense that part of what you're experiencing is like nervousness or fear? Like, man, this is going to ruin my first year at TCC? Or what is
it's more so frustration, because like I don't have time to have surgery right now.
Yeah.
Like I just don't. Like, I have too many things going on. I help my cousin with her kids, who are 3 and 6.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I I have my own stuff that I have to do, and so I don't have the time to have surgery. So it's more so frustration over it. But like, I would also rather have surgery now when it's not like super bad than have to have a more intense surgery later.
Yeah.
Because it would be like the same surgery that they did on my right side, hopefully, which that was just arthroscopic. So that just means like they did it with cameras.
Okay.
So I don't even have like big scars on my right leg. I just have 3 little scars from where they put the cameras and the tools in to fix stuff.
Yeah. And then when that happens, you pretty much be going around with crutches for a month or 2, and then physical therapy for a couple months.
A lot of months.
Yeah. No, that's real. That is an intense challenge. Do you sense like right now, because you say that you have a lot just kind of going around, do you sense that you have, I guess, like people around you, like community or like friends or
Yeah.
people to like support
Yeah,
you during?
definitely I do, but it's like they can't like do anything about my hip.
Yeah.
Like it's not in their control. So it's just kind of like, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of frustration.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you do look at this time frame that you do have, because you said that it's better that it happens kind of right now versus sometime
Yeah.
down the road, what makes right now better than another time? Like, what do you see down the line of time that makes you think
Well,
like
I
it'll be
mean,
worse?
once I'm started at TCC, I'm not going to have time to go to physical therapy and doctor's appointments all the time because I'm going to have homework to do and classes to take and things to study for.
And are you working at the same time?
Right now, my job that I was currently at, I told them about my hip and they were like, yeah, girl, you go get yourself fixed up and then just call us whenever you're ready to come back to work. And I was
That's
like,
awesome.
all right. So I'm also looking for a different job too.
Okay. Oh, so wait, they didn't let you go. They just said
No.
call us back when you're ready
No.
to
Yeah.
start back up again.
Mhm.
Okay. No, that's awesome. Do you feel like your hip situation messes with how you are able to move around and work and
Oh yeah.
get up?
Like, I
and-
mean, it hurts right now.
Oh man.
Yeah. It hurts when I sit, it hurts when I stand, it hurts when I walk. Like, today's a better day for it. But this past weekend, I was like limping around. Like, I could barely put any weight on it. And it was like affecting my knee too. Because if I would like try and walk, my knee would like essentially buckle. So it was a whole thing. But it affects like literally everything I do all the time.
No, that's real. That's real. I appreciate you being willing to still come up here even though you're experiencing.
Well, I mean, it's been something that I've been dealing with since I was like 10 or 11. So it's like, it's not even like painful really. It's just like annoying.
Yeah, like irritating.
Yeah. Because
No.
I'm just used to it.
That's fair. Okay, so like, and typically I ask this question, and now that I'm thinking about our conversation, I'm thinking about 13-year-old you. It's like when I see myself in 5 years, but kind of at the place that you are now, where do you see yourself? Not necessarily in 5 years, but like down the line of time. Like, where do you see yourself in the future? It could be after graduation, after you're finished with
Still
school.
in school.
Oh, you're gonna? He said still in school.
Well, because I want to, get my associates in communications at TCC. And then I plan to go to a 4-year university.
Okay.
And get my bachelor's in communications. And also get my bachelor's in either sports journalism or entertainment journalism. So I got 6 years of school ahead of me.
Yeah.
So I won't see the light of freedom until I'm 24.
No, that's real. That's real. I mean, that's what's up. So with those degrees that you want to get, like, what do you see yourself doing with those?
I want to do like something for either like a big company, like something with like social media, or like a sports team or stuff like that. Just like more behind the scenes stuff. Like,
yeah. I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel it. A little behind the scenes. You want to do, you mentioned things like the Nutter Butter.
Exactly. Sour Patch Kids is really funny too. They have a couple TikToks. One of them is like, "Sweetie, why aren't you eating your Pickle Patch Kids?" And it's just Sour Patch Kids in a jar of pickle juice, and they're just stirring it around.
Yeah, it's a little.
There's another one with like the same phrasing except it's peanut butter, and they just have Sour Patch Kids in a jar of peanut butter and they're just mixing it around.
They getting crazy with these, man.
It's because the younger people are getting into the workforce.
Yeah.
And I love it because it's stuff that's funny to me instead of like those like millennial ads.
Don't do us millennials like
Oh,
that.
I will.
No, but it's it's kind of cool too. It's like it's cool to see that as like this younger generation is coming in, because ads I feel like would go more in a category of I'm gonna tell you what this product is and I'm gonna convince you to get it, and
Not anymore.
what I was like what it is now, it's more entertainment. Like, can you
Mhm.
make me laugh?
Yeah.
Is it memorable?
Yeah.
Are people sharing this with other people to show like how wild this is or how
Mhm.
silly or how cool
Oh,
this
every
is?
single time I see another Butter TikTok or a Sour Patch Kids TikTok or an Oreo TikTok, because Sour Patch Kids and Oreo have beef. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anytime I see like any of those, I always like send it to my group chat and I'm like, guys, this is so funny. And they're like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know, bro. It's just funny.
But it's shareable. People
It
sharing
is.
it. No, that's awesome. Okay, so as I'm thinking of like our conversation, one of the things that I like to do is I like to give people an opportunity to just give some encouragement to kind of like some past version of themselves, which yours is more recent. But for someone who's coming into college, who is coming in with the unmet expectation,
Mhm.
right? They kind of expected themselves to be somewhere right now,
Mhm.
and they're not where they feel like they should be, and they're trying to navigate this space. Like, what words of encouragement would you give to them as they're like trying to figure out what to do next or how to go into the year?
Just go with the flow. I went to a wedding like a month ago, and when I came home, I literally was like, guys, I was talking to my cousins and I was like, guys, you literally just have to go with the flow. Like, you just have to let like the universe like do what she does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nothing is ever that serious. And they were like, if I were to tell you that tomorrow, you would tell me to shut up. And I was like, no, listen. Listen. Nothing is ever that serious. Like, you really just have like to take a step back and look at it from like an outside perspective and be like, literally nobody cares what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a very like self-conscious person, and I like hate talking to other people. I hate it all. Right? But like, you really just have to take a step back and be like, literally no one is gonna remember that, oh yeah, one time you tripped in Walmart and one person saw it. That person's not gonna be like, oh wow, that person, she was such an idiot, she tripped over air in Walmart. And that person's not gonna like think about you for like the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Like, you might think about it for the rest of your life, but like, it's really not that serious. Like, everybody trips.
No, that's real. That's real. And you know, what I like about that too is kind of like the beauty of like embracing where you are, right? Because if it's to go with the flow, if it's to go with, hey, just let it ride,
Mm-hmm.
and take that ride, and no one's paying attention. It gives you almost the freedom to, like your story and your journey, where you're not where you felt like you wanted to be, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to experience the things that you expected to experience, which
Yeah.
is that 4-year university. You still have plans to go there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's part of that flow.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you still can give yourself time to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. No, I love it. I appreciate you. I appreciate this conversation. This was good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
She's like, "You're welcome." I appreciate y'all for tuning in to hearing Madison's story. And if you would like to come on the fitting room, we'd love to have you. And so feel free to fill out the Google form. Feel free to message me. Feel free to connect, and we will make it happen. We're probably going to start doing more fall season 2025 from here on out, but it's all good. You can still put it in, and we can still get you locked in. But until then, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hope that y'all were encouraged. And until next time, I hope that y'all see how you fit in the fitting room. Peace. It wasn't that bad, right?
No. I'd do it again.
You do it again?
Yeah.
Hey, that's the one.